Hello, welcome. I'm Allison. I'm a literacy specialist from Learning at the Primary Pond. And in this video, I'm going to show you a sneak peek at the July materials for the Kindergarten Literacy Club and First and Second Grade Literacy Club. These clubs are only open twice a year for new members. We have activities and our members get materials all year long, but we only open up the clubs for new members twice a year. And now is one of those times. We're going to be open for new members now through July 27th, 2021. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of the materials that our members get, give you some ideas for using them, and we're going to do a giveaway. So I'm actually going to be doing two giveaways. There's going to be 2 Amazon gift cards. And for the first 30-ish minutes of this, I'm going to cover the Kindergarten Literacy Club materials. Then I will do a giveaway of an Amazon gift card. And then for the second 30 minutes, I'll cover the first and second grade materials. And then I'll give away another $25 Amazon gift card. So hope you can join me for that. All you need to do to enter to win a gift card is just comment. So, hey, Melissa in Texas. Hey, Jenny. Excited to show you all this. So they already entered because they just left a comment. So all you need to do is leave a comment, and then what I do when I go to do my giveaway is I'll just kind of like scroll up and randomly choose a commenter, and then I'll have you email us and we'll send you an Amazon gift card. Yay. Hi, Rhonda in Indiana. So glad you're here. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the kindergarten materials. I'm going to change my screen a little bit. Okay, so hopefully this worked. Now you should be able to see my document camera, or rather what is under the document camera. Okay, so our Kindergarten Literacy Club members on the first of each month, they get 4 centers, and it's actually like often there's more than one version of each center, or they're leveled for differentiation. They also get 6 printable readers and digital readers too, in case you want kids to read them on a device, so they get that. They get lesson plans for each reader, and they also get, now they get phonological awareness and phonics quick checks for assessments. So I'm gonna show you some of these goodies. And the first thing that I wanted to show you is just the visual directions. So for the Kindergarten Literacy Club centers, we do provide visual directions for every like game or little center activity so that the kids can like visually see what they're supposed to do. This is especially helpful for the kinders once they're actually, you know, in centers and that's up and running. At the beginning of the year, you might just be doing these whole class, and that works great too. But eventually you'll probably want to have some kind of visual for them. So every single center comes with a page like this. All right, we got lots of people entering the giveaway. Awesome. Hey, Mara, Stacy, Charisse, let me know if I'm saying your name right. Melissa, Justin, Bernice, Kim, Angelica, Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth, so glad you could make it. Hey, Susan, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. All right, so visual directions, yes. Now, this is another, or not another, this is the same activity that was in the visual directions here. This is beginning sounds roll and cover, and we actually give you multiple versions of this, or multiple, like there's number 1, there's number 2, I think there's actually 4 in the materials. And this is really helpful because what you can do is maybe in those first few weeks of school, or maybe you might need to wait a little bit depending on how much letter knowledge your kids come in with, but you can teach this, like maybe play it in small group or play it in whole group, have everybody play, maybe play with a partner. But then because we have multiple versions, you can have the kids play again and again. So for me, I feel like that's key with kindergarten. Having taught kindergarten, I wanted stuff that would keep their attention and keep things fresh, but at the same time, like not be, you know, always something new that I had to teach. So that's why we give you multiple versions so that you can do this or have your kiddos do it multiple times. They know how to play it. They just, you know, play with different letters. So basically they just roll a die and then they cover a picture that begins with that letter. So it's phonological awareness, but also little phonics because they're connecting it to the letter itself. So letter sounds. So you get 4 of those, as I mentioned. Okay, so this is one of my favorites for the month. This is something that I created. So it's like a little, I'll show you the whole thing in a second, but it's a little alphabet pirate treasure hunt So there's black and white versions, and then there's a color version. I'll talk about how you can use both. If you want to use both, you can just use one if that's what you prefer. But with this version, it's more like a worksheet, and the kids can actually color in, like they're searching for the letter A, lower and capital, and then they trace it, right? So you get, as a club member, you get A through Z, a sheet for every single letter. So obviously you can do letter B or whatever letters you're covering, just match it to, you know, your normal alphabet that you're going through. So once the kids do this, maybe as like a worksheet, then what you can do is actually, if you want to, you can bring it back in color or even just black and white, but put it in centers once you have those open, and the kids can use counters to like cover the letter, and then they can trace it, and then they can wipe it off. So again, this comes back to that theme of like consistency with kinders, you know, having them do something more than once. Like, we'll do this, and then when you put it in centers, have like multiple copies, because they'll go through the letters quickly, but by the time they're in centers, hopefully they'll know multiple letters. You can just have a bunch of these in centers, and then they can essentially do it again, and it's not another activity for you to worry about, or another activity for them to learn. Aloha, Arlene, Emily, so glad you could make it. If you're just joining me, make sure to get a comment in. Doesn't matter, just say hi or ask a question or comment something. And then when I am pulling my giveaway winners, I'm just gonna scroll up and down and randomly choose a comment. So make sure to get your comment in. All right, so Kindergarten Literacy Club Center number 2. So this is pretty simple, but we have different options in there. There's just alphabet sequencing. They can either trace, or there's another version. Do I have it with me? Yeah, okay. There's another version where they can write the letter. And then just like with the other center, what I would recommend is like have them do it one way and then bring them back and have them do it another way. So with these, you can also have them color a pattern. So either before or after they do their alphabet tracing, have them color like an AB or ABB or ABC pattern on the flowers. Just have them like color it in around here. So it kind of works as 2 activities in one. We try to give you stuff that can be used in more than one way, more than once. All right, so that is center 1. Oh, by the way, I meant to mention, because we don't really know what this school year is going to look like, all of the centers are social distancing friendly. So pre-pandemic, which feels like such a long time ago, I would do like a lot of partner games and like even some dramatic play literacy type props that you could use. And that is on hold. We'll bring it back when it's time, but I just want to make sure that if you have to do social distancing with your kiddos, that you can actually use the materials. So that's why everything is just a little bit different, because, you know, I mean, it's kinders can work independently, like in a normal year too, but just want to make sure that you can use it. All right, so this is center number 3 for the Kindergarten Literacy Club for July. And by the way, in August, which is actually only in like 8 or 9 days, in August 1st, our members are getting a whole other set of it, okay? So they're getting all this, but then they're getting a whole new set again. So they're gonna be so ready for the beginning of the year. You all, I know I have some members in here right now. All right, so this is a rhyming activity. And in version 1, the kids are just cutting and pasting rhyming pictures, okay? But we have different levels. We know that some of our kids, in some classes, not every class, some of our kids come in reading. So if you have some readers, or if you just want to save this for later in the year, we have CBC words that they can cut and paste, rhyming. Then we also have, even a little more challenging, they would actually write in a word like, you know, the B in bin, a P in pin, to make rhyming words. So it's 1 skill, and then, well, it's not really 1 skill, it's like 3 skills, similar skills, but multi-level. We try to make the Kindergarten Literacy Club centers as multi-level as possible. So that is that. All right, one other component of the KLC, or the Kindergarten Literacy Club membership, is the small group lesson plan. So in addition to giving you a bunch of centers, we also provide a lot of small group materials. The reason for that is because in my personal experience, you're gonna have like some kind of core reading program, hopefully, but I personally was really filling the gaps with my kids having to write small group lessons and constantly look for texts and look for activities for small group, that block of time, let me know if you relate to this in the chat, that block of time goes quickly when you're doing it, but it can be so time consuming to plan for. So that's why I really wanted to focus on the small group and independent activities like centers in the KLC, also the first and second grade club, which I'll tell you about in a minute or 15 minutes. But that's why I chose to focus on it. So here is, it's labeled guided reading, but it's just any kind of small group. And you're gonna get a lesson plan for every single book, okay? Usually you'll get at least one activity and you will get some kind of assessment. So this is obviously for kids that can do a little more. There's different levels of assessments. Okay, so this would be something that you could bring into small group and do with your kiddos in small group. And of course, you'll do your one-on-one assessments at the beginning of the year. The Kindergarten Literacy Club login actually does have one-on-one assessments that you can give if you want to, but this is more for like your ongoing stuff, and this can be a little bit faster than always doing one-on-one assessments. One-on-one assessments are great, but we all know they're time-consuming, right? So this is something that obviously we're not gonna do it the first day of school, right? But this is something that you can give them kind of like once things are up and running and you wanna check in on their letter knowledge, because that's always helpful. Oh, sorry if you hear something, that might be my cats. All right, so this is what you get. Well, there's 5 other lesson plans. It's not just this one. This is what you get with every single book. And then let me show you the books. So the books, well, I guess there's 2 kinds of books in the KLC. There's the kind of book that you as the teacher actually kind of read to them during the small group lesson. And the purpose of that is for them to work on print concepts. So right now it's like the beginning of the school year, or some of us, are not starting until September. But right now, maybe, or when you get into small groups, you're probably gonna have some kids that aren't decoding yet, right? Maybe you have kids that are decoding, but probably a lot of kids aren't going to be. So at that level, what I like to do is something called an echo read. And I'll show you what the book looks like in a minute. But in an echo read, again, the kids aren't decoding. I'm not actually asking them to read anything. I am reading the word and they are just practicing pointing and they'll say the word, okay? And the only purpose of this is just to get them familiar with how to point one-to-one and, maybe find some alphabet letters in context, just understanding how print works, concept of letter. Can we find the first letter in the word? At this point, for those kids that aren't decoding yet, they just need to work on those skills so that when they can decode, they're actually able to use the book correctly. So this is my lunchbox for the very, very, very beginners. We have 2 books on similar topics. Consider this nonfiction and then this one fiction. And so this one is lunchbox. And then, so like again, they are not reading this. It's similar to an alphabet book, but not all the words start with the same letter. So again, the kids are not reading this. You say banana, the kids say banana, right? We turn the page, sandwich. So you are reading to them, but then what the real power is in the lesson plan, we have you go back and, okay, so, okay, boys and girls, let's turn to page 2, put your finger under the word. Let's count the letters in this word. So we're counting the letters. What letter does this word start with? The letter B. It says B, right? So there's lots of different opportunities for print work in this book, but this is for kids who are not decoding yet. And so this one is similar to, again, you read it to them, and the purpose is just to talk about letters and print and all that good stuff. So that's kind of what the beginning level is. Oh, Susan, thank you. Hi, just a note that if you click on the document camera window of your screen, the bottom and top header. Thank you. Oh, where is that though? Is it this? I'm like worried to mess it up. Okay, I don't want to mess anything up, but thank you, Susan. I'm going to explore that after we're done here. Okay, so this was like our beginner level. By the way, if you're just joining me now, make sure to get your comment in so that you can be entered to win the Amazon gift card. All right, so now moving up, just a little bit more challenging, and you may not have kids who are ready for this for quite a while. You may have some kids who are ready for this at the beginning of the year. I know our kinders all come in at different levels. This level is for kids who are maybe beginning to decode CVC words a little bit, but not extensively. So as you can see here, we've got our CVC words. It's a little bit more challenging, right? They're either recognizing high frequency words or they're decoding. For words that are not decodable for them at this point in time, we just have a rebus. So they're not having to try to decode banana. They just know the banana is in the box. And at this level, some kids might not be ready to decode this, but the reason why we include a lot of CVC words is, or not a lot, but a few CVC words is so that you can model get, right? You can at least model and practice blending, even if you're doing a lot of the work at this point. But we're moving up from just print work, like the original levels, to a few more CVC words. It's a whole sentence. There's more high frequency words. So there's more work for the kids to do. And then, you know, you model what you need to model or let the kids decode what they can decode. So that's kind of the next level up. And then there's like a nonfiction as well. So opportunity to practice high frequency words. They should be able to decode at, or you model and you help them, high frequency word. And again, we're not asking them to decode roll because they don't have those decoding skills yet. So that's why there's a rebus in there. All right, so the levels do go up as the year goes on. This is kind of like the last difficulty level we have for July, but then of course, you know, once the kids get to do more decoding, then the books will look a lot more like your beginning decodable text, right? But right now, they can't decode a lot of CVC words, at least in the progression that I'm talking about. So again, same titles, but the book looks a little bit, oh no, these are the wrong ones. Same titles, the book's gonna look a little different. Let me grab the right ones. Here we go. Okay, so in this set, again, they look the same, but there's even more high frequency word, not high frequency word. There's even more CVC words, more decodable words for them. So like, let me show you the last page here in this book, the highest level. So here we're, you know, the cookie will go on, decodable, top, and yum. So there's more CVC words for them to decode. Now, at this level, kids would not necessarily be able to decode a book that's chock full of CVC words, but that's okay. That's why we intentionally gradually increase the number of CVC words that we have in the books for them, and then we eventually work our way up, and the KLC books become more like, you know, beginning decodables once the kids are at that level. So those are the examples of the books for July. So now actually what I want to do is I'm going to change my share again. Let's see. Dina says, love that each level is the same title, makes it easy to see the increasing skill level. Yes. Absolutely. It's also nice because sometimes the kids don't notice that different groups of kids are reading different things, and that is nice. Okay, I'm gonna remove this, and we are going to share my other window. Okay, so, nope. There we go. Let me know if you don't see this, but you should be able to see the Kindergarten Literacy Club login. So if you're just joining me, Kindergarten Literacy Club is open right now for new members. This only happens twice a year, in January and in July right now. So we're accepting new members through July 27th. And the purpose of the club is to provide materials, which I just showed you, but it's also to provide support. So I do a once a month Zoom call that's private to just our members, and I'll have a little PD topic. I do lots of surveys to figure out what topics our members want me to cover. So I'll do a little PD, and then we'll just have a Q&A, and teachers ask each other questions. We all talk together. It's really a lovely community. So when you're a member, this is the login area. So like, this is where you would download your new monthly materials. So this is where all the July stuff is. In addition to the small group and the centers, I also recorded for you a webinar. Every month the webinar is usually live. It wasn't because of the 4th holiday here in the States, but normally it's live on Zoom, and then the recording goes in here so that you can watch it whenever you want, or our members can. And so for the July topic, I did your first 10 days of writing instruction in the new school year. So you can watch that video, but then I also actually gave you the first 10 lesson plans for writing instruction in the new school year. So you actually can go and teach those lessons right away. Okay, so every month you get all this stuff brand new, but there also are a lot of goodies in the club that you get access to immediately. So let's see, we've got our literacy essentials. I've got app suggestions, assessments. This might be handy for the beginning of the school year. A huge suggested book list. I have like a literacy scope and sequence, writing paper, and I'm always adding things. Love to get requests from members. Here's our little request box if you are a member and you want to make a request. There's also some professional development webinars that you can watch anytime. These are just things that are here in the club for you. There's going to be a certificate with each one, and then usually there's some kind of accompanying materials with it. So those are at your fingertips whenever you want them. A favorite section of our members is Intervention Central. So these are all kinds of resources to support students who may be struggling a little bit. And at the beginning of the year, you know, you're just trying to get to know your students, but as the year goes on, you may notice that, oh, this kid is struggling with this, or this kid is struggling with that. And so I have listed out here, okay, if they're struggling with this, then here are some different things to try. And then often I'll give you like little files or links or just other goodies inside there. So that is something that our members have mentioned is really helpful. And there's all kinds of intervention materials for different skills. In back to school, there's all kinds of goodies here too. There's name activities, there's a parent packet. And then most recently, I did this step-by-step guide for launching your literacy routines. And so what I did is I basically took out like some of your, key things that you'll be doing in your schedule for literacy. And I blocked out like, okay, teach this on this day, teach this on that day, so that you can get, I don't know, just like a good plan going for the beginning of the year to launch everything, because it can feel overwhelming to think about this and plan it all yourself. So this can kind of guide you. And then of course, like I expect that you would make it your own and modify for sure, but it's at least a starting point, because it can be kind of daunting, especially if you haven't taught kindergarten before. But even if you have taught kindergarten, just to get your brain back in that place, especially after this last school year. In here also, I have a bunch of organizational tools, the weekly planner, some newsletter templates. So members, if you're a member, I know I have some members on here, don't forget about this stuff. This is in here for you. This is so great for the beginning of the year. There's a ton of classroom organization forms, and they're editable too, so lots of goodies. And then I guess the last thing I want to show you, oh, by the way, I know that with some memberships, you have to like log in and download your materials or they'll disappear, but that is not the case here. You get access to this and you can log in at home, at school, wherever you want. You don't have to worry about saving the files, because as long as you're a member, this is all in here for you. We also have a little Facebook group button there, and we got a request box, which I love to hear your requests. Okay, so the last little thing before I do my Amazon gift card giveaway, make sure to get your comment in if you have not commented yet, so that you're in there when I scroll and pick my winner. The last little thing I want to show you is something that I developed to just give our members more resources. So I wanted our members to be able to log in and have access to literacy resources, but also math. If you follow me, then you know that I love teaching math, but I just don't do really PD or things on math, but I love teaching math. And so I created the kindergarten math library. There's a first and second grade one too. But inside the kindergarten math library, there are all kinds of categories, and there's just a big library of materials that you can access. And you can look for specific skills. We add new materials every single month. But this was kind of like a perk for our Literacy Club members. So our Literacy Club members can join this at a huge, huge discount. And then if you want to join just the math library, you can do that as well. I think, hopefully it worked when I like put in a little caption here, but there should be a link if you just wanted the math library. That's always an option, but our Literacy Club members do get a discount. So if you're a Literacy Club member, make sure that you don't join from the link that I gave you. Make sure that you go into your login and get access here, because that will give you the discount. And then when you log into your members area, you'll see like your literacy club stuff, and then you'll see a little different area for your math materials. So that is actually brand new. I'm super excited to finally be able to share this with you. It has been a lot of work, but absolutely worth it. So that's in here, and it's also growing all the time. All right, let's go ahead. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, Teresa. Love you guys. Got lots of awesome members in here. Let's go ahead and do our Amazon gift card giveaway. I hope that was helpful to see the kindergarten materials as well as the kindergarten club. Before I shift to the first and second grade literacy club stuff, I am going to pull a name. So let me just scroll and scroll. All right, my winner is Teresa. Teresa D, one of our literacy club members. Teresa, make sure to email us and we will send you your Amazon gift card. Yay! So awesome to see you. Rachel says, how do you become a member? I think it got cut off, the last part of what you were asking. So there should be a link in the post if everything were like I planned on it, but otherwise you can go to kindergartenliteracyclub.com, and then let me put the math club link as well. So this math club link though, just make sure that if you're using this math club link, then you are not either a member or intending to become a member, because the math link, I'm gonna put non-members, does not have the discount unless you are already a member, if that makes sense. So use that link only if you're not a member or not planning to become a Kindergarten Literacy Club member. Otherwise, I want you to have the discount. All right, congrats, Teresa. So excited that it was you. Teresa is one of our longtime Literacy Club members. So now I think we're gonna go ahead and shift gears again. So I think Susan was telling me how to fix okay, Sariella, if you remember last year, does your membership automatically renew? It should, unless you got an email otherwise, but you can always email us, support@learningattheprimarypond.com if you need help, and we'll be happy to help you out with that. Awesome, Rachel, perfect. So we are gonna shift into first and second grade, so you are in the right place. I'm gonna be pulling actually another Amazon gift card winner, so feel free to get another comment in, and I will still use the comments from before, but I will be scrolling again once I go through the first and second grade literacy club resources. So I need to switch my screen share again. Okay, Susan was giving me directions for fixing the, where did they go? Not the header itself, just in the middle of the window. Sure. Still can't figure it out. Okay, well, regardless, I will share my document camera again, and I'll try to figure that out later. We'll remove this, and we will share that. And then we need our first and second grade literacy club materials. So the first and second grade literacy club is set up pretty similarly to the kindergarten literacy club in that the monthly materials focus on your small group and centers, because again, I feel like that's just something that is really time consuming to plan for. However, the materials are obviously different because the kids are a little bit older and they can do a little bit more, but again, it's for that block of time. So with the first and second grade literacy club materials, what I'm showing you is July. Every single month, you get a fresh set of this stuff. It never repeats. We make it totally brand new, fresh for our members, and it's not on my Teachers Pay Teacher site. So what you're gonna see is just one example from July. In 8 or 9 days, August, our members are on August 1st, our members are going to be getting a new set of materials that they, can either use right away if they're in school, or they can save it up. And then when school starts, they're gonna have so many goodies that will hopefully save you time, because the literacy clubs are all about saving you time. Awesome, Kelly. So glad it was helpful. Kelly says, enjoyed the webinar and got more ideas on how to use my club membership materials. Okay, Mary, the QR code is for audio. So we actually have somebody do like an audio, she's like a voice actress. She does the audio recordings. And so the kids can scan this, or there's just a normal link that you can have them click if you prefer that. But they can scan this and then they can go listen to the audio of each passage. So that is awesome for fluency. All right, so make sure to get your comment in if you're just joining me for when I pull the Amazon gift card. So every single month, our members are going to get 8 brand new passages. There's going to be 4 fiction and 4 nonfiction. And the topics are going to be similar, somehow related to build background knowledge. So at the beginning of the year, we've got like school topics, some of the more challenging passages, because we have obviously different levels for first and second graders. So like here's an example, school in Japan. Kids are learning nonfiction about how school works in Japan. And then they are learning about a school game that kids play in Japan, playing Jenkin, which is like rock, paper, scissors. So they get these 4 different levels of passages for fiction and nonfiction for each, okay? So here's an example of the lowest level. We use the Fountas and Pinnell levels, but we make them much more decodable or restrict them for high frequency words and decodable words. And when there are words that are more challenging than the kids would be able to read, what we do is we pull them out here, and then the intention is that if they don't know these words, you will teach them. So we try to make the passages as decodable as possible. With some of the lower levels, we just have a rebus here, like you may have seen with the Kindergarten Literacy Club. And the purpose of that is that kids aren't necessarily decoding at that level. You know, they're not going to be able to decode taxi. So the purpose is not to try to make them decode the word, but just they look at the picture and that's it. And so it's a little bit different from when you would see like a book with a picture up top and the kids are trying to guess the word. It's not like that because they just say the picture, and their main focus is on decoding these words and recognizing high frequency words. So like this is the lowest level. And then we also give you a lesson plan to go with it. So you can, ask discussion questions that we give you. There's word work that goes with it. And then the texts get harder, as you can see, as you go up the levels. So we do a below level first grade, a on level first grade, on level second grade, above level second grade for the levels. And the levels get harder as the year goes on. And the reason why the first and second grade Literacy Club materials are together is because you might have kids at a variety of levels. And so when we give you this, then you have so many choices, right? You have stuff for the lower kids and you also have stuff for the more advanced kids as well. So here is our on-level second grade, I believe, and then here is slightly above level second grade. Okay. So that's an example of the passage, and then every single passage, I only have one example here, but every single passage is going to come with a teacher sheet. So this is your lesson plan. It's how to introduce the text. There's certain words that we say, hey, don't ask your kids to decode them, just tell them what they are. There's these post-reading discussion questions, and you may have noticed this is brand new. So even if you're a member, you might not know this yet, but we now number the paragraphs so that if you want kids to have a stopping point, which is a great idea if A, it's nonfiction, because there tends to be lots of concepts packed into a nonfiction text, or B, if you just want to, read a chunk and that's all they can handle for one day, or you read a chunk, stop, talk about it, and then have them continue reading. The paragraph numbering just makes it a lot easier to tell the kids where to stop. So that's why we added it, which was actually cut from a request from our members for stopping points. So we love to hear your requests. So then the questions then are also linked to the paragraph so that hey, if the kids haven't read all of that, then I know that I can't ask them that question. So they're linked to the paragraphs as well. And then we have a word work option. So we give you 2 because we don't necessarily know like what skill you want to cover or what skill you want to review. The word work options are really good for review, I would say, or, when they're working on a new skill. But the thing about phonics instruction is that kids need to come back and review the topics time and time again. And so that's why I like personally to choose a skill that I've already taught. So I'm taking this skill, I'm ideally having them maybe find some words in the text that are related, R controlled vowels or, whatever you're working on. And then there's also some word work activities here. So you have some options. This is also brand new, very excited about this. We now have assessments, little comprehension assessments for every single passage that you get every single month. Very excited. So the assessments, just like the passages, are at different levels. And as you can see, here we have pictures, right? So let me show you like the beginning one. And then here is an example of what a more challenging one would look like that has multiple choice and it has a short answer question. So there's also different levels in between. Again, these go with the passages. So excited about these. They just gradually get more challenging. And then the kids don't necessarily have to do these during small group, but what they make a great tie-in for is your independent work. So a lot of this stuff is really going to save you time if you read the passage during small group. Even I would say whole group at the very beginning of the year, if you're not doing small group yet, like that works too. But if eventually you want to use them in small group, you can do that, but then you can hand them one of these other activities to do independently. So it's like differentiated independent work, A, that you didn't have to prep, but B, that ties into the text that they read during small group. So it's just building off of that, and it's a time saver. Just I've grown to really love handing my kids independent work based upon what we're doing in small group. So just some, not all of them, but some of the assessments. And then the word work activities are going to match the phonics skills that are in the phonics activities. So this one goes with the lesson plan where the kids are working on CVC words, which would be at the first grade level. And then again, you can hand them this activity. They say bus, bus, and then they write the word. So it's all kind of tied together. And the phonics activities, you have choices again. There's different things that are in here. This is not all of the materials. There's a few other ones too. But we try to provide options. Of course, when the kids get a little more advanced, we're, breaking words into syllables, which is such a good skill. And we walk you through doing that. They can have this little half sheet, you might do it, maybe some of them you do as a group and then some of them they do independently. We just have some fun games too for vowel team, AY in this case. So all different kind of goodies. We have a black and white version of that as well. Yes, Teresa, very similar to Alconin boxes where they're segmenting. Yep. All right. So is this the last kind of thing? Yeah, this is the last second to last chunk of things that I wanted to show you for the first and second grade materials. In addition to all that stuff, you are going to get writing activities and graphic organizers, which again are great for when you read the text in small group. Maybe you give them a copy of the text. They can listen to it and read it again, and then they can write about it. They can also start their writing in small group with you, and then they go and finish it independently. That's a good strategy too. So these are not all the writing activities. There's all kinds of different things though for you to choose from. This one is super fun. So like I said, one of the passages is about school in Japan. This is for the older kids, like the second graders. And in this activity, there is a separate little passage, but some of the words are missing. And so the kids have to use the knowledge and the vocabulary that they learned from that other passage to complete the little pretend letter from a kid, to grandma. Also have some different graphic organizer options like this. And then you'll see for every writing activity, we have one with and without sentence starters, just because we know that sometimes you might want to use them and sometimes maybe you want the kids to be a little more independent. So we have some options. The last little thing that I wanted to show you, and I don't have all of them here, but we do either a vocabulary or a fluency activity every single month. So this particular month we did vocabulary. We kind of go back and forth. I think next month is vocabulary too. But this relates to the text that the kids are reading. If you remember, like how we go to school was for the lower levels. So again, this is something that you could either do in small group or just give them to do independently afterward. And then as they go up in levels, then the activities are more complex. So again, with every passage comes either a vocabulary or a fluency activity. Thanks, Sonia. Sona, I think it is. Teresa, let's see. Rachel, was this created to go with a specific curriculum? It was not. My goal was for this to complement pretty much any core reading program. Often your reading programs are not going to include enough passages and text for the kids to read, like during small groups, and often they don't include enough independent activities. And so our members use a variety of different core programs. Some of them use my stuff from Learning at the Primary Pond. Some of them use, like a package program that their school provides. But this is just, these are supplementary for those times in the school day with small group centers or however you want to use them to just help you plan for that, because it can be really time consuming. You are so welcome. Thank you, Shelly. Shelly says, love these. Okay, so that was what I wanted to show you with the document camera. And now I want to show you what the members area actually looks like. So let's switch the screen share again. Okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do that. There we go. Okay, so hopefully, let me know if you can't, but hopefully now you should be able to see the 1st and 2nd grade Literacy Club login. So just like the Kindergarten Literacy Club, this is the members area. Not sure if everyone here was joining us, but it's very similarly set up to the Kindergarten Literacy Club. So when you want to look at your monthly materials, you just click the new monthly materials button. Those do not disappear from the login. They are there permanently for you to access as long as you're a member. Log in at school, log in at home. It's just supposed to be a time saver for you. So when you click these, this is where you'll download all the passages and activities. In addition to all that stuff, like the packet that you get, we also do every single text individually as a PDF so that if you want to use them digitally, you can. So that is always an option. Pandemic or no pandemic, sometimes you would just, want to have the kids use it on a tablet or have them access it otherwise. So that is an option for you. And then there's also all other kinds of goodies in here. So we've got the PD webinars specific to 1st and 2nd grade. Watch them whenever you want. There are certificates to go with them, materials. They're there for you on demand because we know you're busy, and then you can watch them whenever it works for you. Intervention Central, a favorite of our members too. There are intervention activities to support your kids who struggle with specific skills. The phonics and decoding section is something that's a favorite of our members. If you want to figure out what your kiddos really need to know at the beginning of the year, as far as phonics, there's this document called Phonics Practice Protocol. And in it, that's more for like 1st grade, but there's a nonsense word reading assessment, and there is a spelling assessment, and it'll tell you, okay, like specifically if kids are, misspelling this, then they need to work on that. If they're misspelling this, then they need to work on that. So it's kind of like spells out a scope and sequence for you, and tells you how to do it. Oh, then there's also like activities to help you teach the skills that maybe they have some gaps in. So that is inside Intervention Central in Phonics and Decoding, and it's under Phonics Practice Protocol if that's something that you want to use. There's tons of other intervention activities as well. Probably don't have time to cover them all, but that is one that I wanted to point out because it can be especially helpful, the assessment component of that at the beginning of the year. So exciting, Rachel. Congratulations. Also, if you're just joining me, I am pulling one more Amazon gift card. So make sure that you get a comment in and just say hi. Let's see, what else do I want to show you? There's all kinds of goodies in here. So if you become a member, make sure that you check everything out. There's like scope and sequence, comprehension questions at different levels of complexity. That's something that's a little bit newer to the membership as well. So we have like the Bloom's taxonomy levels, all kinds of questions that you can use with different texts. There are just all kinds of goodies in here. Back to school materials. This is another brand new gift. I did this for my Literacy Club members. What I did is I took what I would teach for launching literacy skills at the beginning of the year. So like for phonics, reading, independent reading, writing, and I broke down like what you would teach day by day. And I did that for 1st grade. And I also did it for 2nd grade. So that is in there. That's in the back to school section. And let's see. Oh, we have our organizational tools. I showed this with the Kindergarten Literacy Club, but same deal. Classroom newsletter templates if you want that. There's like a Google Slides version, a weekly planner, all kinds of classroom organization forms. I wonder if I can see this. Maybe not. Okay, so I can't show you that right now, but there's just tons of stuff that will help you get ready for the beginning of the year. I think that's all I wanted to show you there. So that is what the login area looks like. And then if you've been a member for a while, here's a list of all your passages and activities. Here's the request box, love to hear requests. And here's a link to our private Facebook group that's just for our first and second literacy club members. All right, last little thing I wanted to show you is just the math library. So I showed you previously, you may have been on, you may have missed it, but I showed the kindergarten math library. We have separate math libraries for the first grade and second grade level. So this is first grade and then this is second grade. And in the math library, it's a little bit different from the literacy club. This is just something that our literacy club members can get access to at a discount so that when you log in, you have both literacy materials and math materials in the same place, which is a time saver. That's why I added it. And so in here, I just broke everything up into categories. And then we have all kinds of different activities in here. You can kind of see what they look like in the image. And again, it's just a time saver. This is not a math program per se, but it's all kinds of activities that you can use for centers, for independent work, for homework, pretty much whatever you have, there's stuff for it. And there's also a request box. So we love to hear your requests. So that's an example of the first grade math library. You can also join, if you're not a literacy club member, it's just a little bit more expensive. If you are a literacy club member, just make sure to use this little link here so that you get the discount. You can always email us too if you're having issues. But all right, so this is the second grade math library, brand new, super excited about this. Same deal, it's broken up into different categories, all kinds of skills here. And it's kind of a mix of like, there's some worksheets, there's some games, there's some activities, just different things. And we are adding new. So you are getting brand new math materials as well every single month, and they just get added to your login and they're there for you to access whenever. And again, use the request box for sure, because we want to know, what kinds of activities you want to see added, what skills, all that good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and pull our Amazon gift card winner. Make sure you have your comment in if you haven't yet. So I'm just gonna randomly scroll and pick somebody's name, and then I will just need you to email support@learningattheprimarypond.com, and we will send you your Amazon gift card. So let me scroll. Okay, my winner is gonna be Kelly H. Houts, I think, says, love this for center work. That is the comment I landed on. Kelly Hoper still here. Make sure to email at support@learningattheprimarypond.com. Congratulations, Kelly and Teresa. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Remember, the clubs are only open for new members through July 27th. We have activities going on throughout the entire school year. You're getting new materials every month, but because of the way it's all set up, as you can see, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So we only open the club to new members twice a year. July 27th is the join by date. You can then later, if you want to add the math library, go for it. You can always get that discount. That's totally fine. Let's see, anything else you wanted to cover? You can join the math library separately if that's something you want to do. I put a link for that in the post and the comments, but if you're a Literacy Club member, just make sure that you join through here. If you join the Literacy Club, and this is to join this one, it's first and second grade literacyclub.com. To join the Literacy Club, if you want both literacy and math, go through the entire checkout page, okay? And check out for the Literacy Club, and then it'll say, hey, do you want the math? And then it'll offer that to you. So it's a little bit weird how it works, but you want to join both, go through the whole Literacy Club checkout process, and then it'll offer you math. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them, even if you are watching this after the fact. Happy to come back and answer them. Hope this was helpful, members. I hope this gave you some ideas for using the materials at the beginning of the year. I also actually made some YouTube videos about that on the Learning at the Primary Pond channel. Thanks so much for watching. Congrats to our winners. And if you are on summer break, I hope you are enjoying yourself. Bye, everybody.